Hey, when are you coming back? It's already been 8 months, just come back already. My ex-husband suddenly showed up at my parents' house, acting as irrational as ever. After ignoring me for so long, now he wants me back. I looked at him coldly and said, "We're nothing to each other now. And besides, I'm married to someone else." My name is Lily, and I'm 35 years old. I work in an office. I've been married to my husband, Ryan, for 2 years. We met through a blind date set up by a friend. She was worried I was too focused on work and wouldn't meet anyone, so she'd arranged for us to meet. Ryan was there at the party, and we quickly became friends. I liked that he was the one to start conversations because I've never been good at romance. It's easier for me when the other person takes the lead. Ryan is 2 years younger than me, so we were close in age and had a lot in common. We exchanged numbers and started dating. About a year later, he proposed and we got married. I was happy to marry someone I loved, but after we got married, I realized there were things I hadn't noticed before. First, Ryan did absolutely no housework. He never cleaned or did laundry. He had always lived with his parents, but I assumed that, as an adult, he would at least take care of basic chores. But he had zero experience. He had never cooked before, and the last time he held a knife was in middle school home economics class. That was a red flag. It meant he expected me to do all the housework just because he didn't know how. And so my exhausting life began. Every morning, I woke up early to make lunch for both of us and prepare breakfast. After work, I rushed home to cook dinner. It was tough, especially when I was already tired from work. So I asked him, "Can you at least help with cleaning and laundry?" But he just said, "I've never done that before, so I don't know how." He didn't even try. I patiently told him, "I'll show you how, and we can do it together." But instead of learning, he just refused. At first I thought I could handle it, but with my busy job, managing the house became overwhelming. Then, one day, Ryan complained, "Have you been slacking off on the chores? The house is dusty and my clothes aren't washed." This never happened when I lived at home. I was furious. "Then why don't you do some of the housework? Your mom was a housewife, but I have a full-time job. I don't have the same time she did." Instead of understanding, Ryan got mad. "What are you talking about? My mom took care of me and my brother while managing the house just fine. It should be even easier for you since we don't have kids." "No, but just do your job properly." I was exhausted and frustrated. I had been making healthy meals, packing lunches, and doing everything I could. Fine. If he didn't appreciate it, I'd make things easier for myself. I started cutting corners, gradually. For lunch, I used more store-bought bread. I relied on frozen meals for dinner, made quick rice bowls, and simplified everything. I cleaned lightly in the mornings and did a deep clean only on weekends. I used the dryer for most of the laundry instead of hanging things up. Ryan didn't even notice. As long as the house looked clean, he had no complaints, and he never realized I had stopped making elaborate homemade meals. I wish I had done this sooner. Reducing my workload gave me more energy for work. For 2 years, we lived like that. But then recently, Ryan started complaining again. It happened while I was taking out the trash. "What's this?" he asked. "What?" He grabbed the trash bag and started pulling things out. "Hey, what are you doing? Did you use this much frozen food?" He held up the packaging. "I told you not to slack off. A proper wife should be cooking real meals for her husband." That was the last straw. "I do all the housework, and I made things easier for myself. If you have a problem with it, then do it yourself." He looked stunned. "I've been using frozen food for nearly a year, and you never noticed. That means you were perfectly happy eating it. So don't act like you care now." Ryan had no response. He had never realized the difference. "Shut up. I didn't think you were such a terrible wife. Stop using frozen food from now on," he shouted before stomping off to his office. He was being completely unreasonable, or maybe he just felt the need to be in control all the time. After 2 years of marriage, I realized Ryan was full of useless pride. I was more frustrated with myself for not noticing this before marrying him. From that day forward, I decided I wouldn't let him push me around anymore. If he wasn't going to respect me, I wouldn't go out of my way to please him. Instead of making his lunch, I packed my own homemade meal and left $5 on the table for him. "What the hell is this?" he asked. "I'm tired of your constant complaints, so from now on, just buy your own lunch," I said. Isn't it your duty as a wife to make my lunch? There's no rule that says that. Don't be ridiculous. I won't allow you to slack off on housework. I don't care what you allow. And if you don't like it, I won't give you the $5 either. He looked irritated but grabbed the money anyway and stuffed it into his wallet. At least make it $10, he muttered. I almost laughed at how pathetic he sounded, so the next day, I decided to give him $10 from our household budget. Not having to make his lunch was a relief. We still argue from time to time, but I managed to carry on with our marriage. Some people might wonder why I stayed with someone like him, but I didn't want to rush into a divorce. It's easy to leave, but I didn't think it was right to give up on someone I once loved just because we had different values. No couple is a perfect match. I believe that with time, we could learn to compromise and accept each other's differences. That's why I kept going. But then one day, he did something that completely changed the way I saw our marriage. It happened suddenly. "Welcome home," I greeted Ryan as he walked in after work. No response. I thought maybe he hadn't heard me, so I just continued cooking dinner. He changed out of the suit, walked into the living room, and lay down on the couch to watch TV. Once dinner was ready, I called him. "Dinner's ready." Still nothing. He sat down, ate in silence, and didn't say a single word. I started to feel uneasy. Maybe something had happened at work. I let it slide. I knew that if I complained about Ben's attitude, it would just turn into an argument. But after finishing his meal, he got up from the table without a word. That annoyed me. "Can't you at least say thank you for dinner and put your dishes away?" I asked. He didn't reply. He just walked to his room with a blank expression. What's wrong with him? I muttered to myself. I cleared the table and washed the dishes. We hadn't argued recently, and I hadn't done anything to upset him, so I figured it had to be something else. But the next morning when I said, "Good morning," he ignored me. That evening when he came home, I greeted him with, "Welcome back," but he didn't say a word. Even during dinner, he wouldn't talk to me. This went on for days, and my patience wore thin. "Why are you ignoring me?" I finally snapped. "If something is wrong, just say it. You can't just shut me out like this." Ben didn't even look at me. He just went to his room again. This silent treatment dragged on for a week. I got tired of it and stopped trying to talk to him. Days passed, then weeks. It had been nearly 2 weeks since we had last spoken. At this point, I didn't even know what his problem was. I was so sick of being ignored that I started thinking, why am I even cooking dinner for him? One evening, I simply decided not to cook. When Ben came home, he glanced at the empty dining table. He looked at me for a second, but didn't say anything. Then he grabbed his coat and left. What is this? How long is this going to go on? I started wondering if staying married like this was even possible. That's when I found the divorce papers. They were in a drawer, already signed by Ben. So he's already thinking about divorcing me. Something inside me snapped. Fine. If that's what he wants, I'll just submit them. I signed my part, took the papers to the office, and filed for divorce. Then I packed my things and went back to my parents' house. They were shocked when I showed up with my bags. But when I told them what happened, they were furious at Ben. I settled into my new routine, commuting to work from my parents' house. I never heard from my ex-husband. A week passed, then another. No calls, no messages. I figured he really didn't care. Part of me felt sad, but mostly, I was angry. I'm going to forget about that guy. And so I moved on. 8 months later, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, I heard a knock at the door. Thinking it was a delivery, I opened it without a second thought. There he was. Ben. I froze. He looked at me, his eyes widening in shock before his expression turned into anger. "Hey, when are you coming back? It's been 8 months, so get your ass back here." Is he serious? After ignoring me for so long? I stared at him coldly. "We're strangers now," I said. "What are you talking about? We're married. Stop being ridiculous and come home." "You're the one being ridiculous," I replied. "You filled out the divorce papers. You signed them. I just submitted them." His face twisted in disbelief. "What? You actually filed them?" "Of course. Why wouldn't I? You had them ready and signed. That means you wanted a divorce, right?" "It was just to scare you. I wasn't really going to divorce you." I shook my head. If you ignore me for weeks, ruin our marriage, and leave signed divorce papers lying around, how else am I supposed to take it? Ben continued. Well, I listened to my boss's advice. He said that since you always talked back, the only way to get you to listen was to completely ignore you and wait for you to come around. Then he suggested I confront you with the divorce papers, and that would make you apologize. I was disgusted. Your boss sounds terrible. How's his marriage going? His wife and kids left him recently. Of course they did. And don't you think you deserve a divorce after doing the same thing? Ben looked uncomfortable, but he was still stubborn. You'll be the one who struggles now that we're apart. You're older, and with a divorce on your record, no one will want to marry you. So why don't you come back to me? I'll make an exception for you. You don't want to be lonely, do you? Stop being stubborn and come back. I sighed and shook my head. I'm married to someone else. Ben's eyes widened in disbelief. Do you really think I'll fall for that? You're a terrible liar. I'm not lying, I replied. Want proof? I went to the bedroom and woke up my husband. He came to the door, still sleepy. When he saw Ben, his eyes widened. This is my husband. Ben was stunned. Wait, you're Lily's ex-husband. It's been a while. What do you want? Did you really remarry this man? Ben asked. That's exactly what I said. You were childhood friends, right? After my divorce, he supported me and we grew closer. We got married because we knew each other so well. Ben seemed shocked. Oh no. What are you doing here so early on a weekend? I asked. Ben stuttered. Well, now you know. I'm starting a new life. If you don't leave now, I'll have my husband call the police. Oh, I don't want that, Ben said quickly, rushing to leave. Then get out of here, I shouted, and he hurried away. My husband, my childhood friend, is a police officer. We grew up together, and when I got divorced, he came to comfort me. He told me I was his first love and had always had feelings for me. We ended up getting married because we knew each other so well. Now we're living happily together, and I'm pregnant. We're excited to welcome our baby into this new chapter of our lives. Ignoring your spouse is terrible. I'm so glad I found happiness with my dependable husband, and I hope Lily continues to live happily ever after too.